There are a ton of phones out there. Every year we're getting new, fastest, best camera, most fancy, folding, flipping, flying, exploding phones, some that can charge in 10 minutes. At this point, Gemini will probably start making my breakfast. But if you're like me, you're probably wondering, what phone should I get? Not everyone has the money just to buy the best phone and call it a day. You want a phone that fits your lifestyle, but also not so crummy that it falls apart in like 3 business days. So let me break it down. Starting with camera, this one is simple. You want to pick up your phone, press one button and take a good photo. You want to get a Pixel. Well, which one? The 7A is not too bad. You can even get it used for under $250. Just ignore the fact that it's a budget phone. It literally won the MKBHD blind camera comparison, which shows you how good it is. Now, what if you know exactly what you're doing with your camera because you're using it in manual mode? Well, this one is a bit more tricky. Generally, you want a large, high quality sensor, something closer to 1 inch, maybe a telephoto camera, and a phone that lets other third-party camera apps access all the lenses. That would be something like the Vivo X100 Pro, probably the best 1-inch sensor you can get, but it's expensive, and in the UK at least, you have to import it. One of these Xiaomi Ultra phones, depending on how much you want to spend and how much you want the newer CPU, or even the OnePlus 8 Pro, which you can find used for under £200, and it's an insane camera for B-roll footage. Now for gaming and emulation, you think I'm gonna say the ROG phone or the Red Magic? Well, no, they kinda suck. They still use the same CPU as any other flagship, but you get a few extra features like a fan, some triggers, and maybe 5 more FPS. But you end up with a sucky camera, no software support, and you still have to pay a bunch of money, even more than a Steam Deck, which makes no sense to me. So you want to prioritize the CPU, the battery, and the thermal system. A lot of phones actually suck at gaming because of thermal throttling, which is due to a janky processor and useless cooling. So avoid the Google Pixels, the Samsungs with Exynos chips, the Snapdragon 888, and especially 8 Gen 1, not the Plus, but the original, because it's actual dot. So if you're starting at the top, you get the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, something like an S24 Ultra, which is too expensive. OnePlus 12 is literally an S tier, and it has the largest cooling system. And then the Poco X6 Pro, which is unbeatable value. Unless you go used, because then you can get something with a Snapdragon 865, which is something like a OnePlus 8 Pro, or a Snapdragon 870, which is something like a Poco F3. Well, what if you want the best average phone? Then you want to get a used flagship. Now, I'm not going to go into detail, but an older flagship is still going to have better features than a newer low-end or budget phone. You'll get a premium build and high quality parts. And since phones aren't improving as much anymore these days, those key features are more important than having a new phone which is going to be unreliable and is going to have low quality parts because it's cutting corners everywhere. So what do you buy? A high-end Samsung like an S22 Ultra, S20 FE, but only the Snapdragon one, the Exynos one sucks. Something like a OnePlus 11, a OnePlus 8 Pro, yes, again. And if you really want to buy new, then you can get a Pixel 8, a Pixel 7a, Nothing 2a, CMF1, and a Xiaomi Note 13, which has a little bit sucky battery, but it's so cheap. And I definitely wouldn't go any cheaper than that.